Hi, welcome. We'll get started in just a few minutes. We're so glad you're here. Marion and Debbie, give it a couple minutes while people come on in.
There of just who is waiting for her on the other side. So Tarina's mama.
How many do we have today?
We have a little bit smaller group, but we have about 12 to
Okay.
and then how many of you guys are you guys cooking with anybody else in the kitchen today?
I will be. My friend's not here yet, but I'm ready to
Nice.
go.
Awesome. Glad to see you, Marion, and welcome,
Thanks.
Debbie. Yeah, I've been really excited about this class, so we'll have a lot of fun.
Good.
Just make sure nobody's in the waiting room. Okay. Great. And Marion, I think you've taken classes with us before.
Yeah.
Debbie, have you taken classes with us as well? Feel free to let us know. And Marion, which classes did you take?
Oh, I took the Moroccan cooking and Indian one, at least one other one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are great. We're going to be doing another Indian one. I don't know if you saw on your kit, but
Yeah.
audio. And can you guys hear us okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we'll just give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get going. No? Oh, I'll make sure I silence my phone. Welcome, how are you? And I'll just make sure that everybody can come on in as they join. All right. Well, I think we can start with introductions, and we'll get a few more people that are going to be joining us very shortly. But welcome, everyone. My name's Sarah Buckman, and we're so lucky to have Ann Swanson here today.
Sarah's a good friend.
I know that you're in for a real treat with the recipes today and all of the learning from Ann. And then I want to introduce my coworker, Emily Barnick. She's our outreach coordinator, so she's been helping with our meal kits and all of our classes, and so she'll be behind the scenes, and you'll see us switching out. We'll get some close-ups with our camera, and we'll be able to. Since it's a smaller class today, we welcome you guys to unmute yourself when you have questions, and we want to make this as interactive as possible. And we heard from Marion that she had taken some classes with us before. And then I think, yeah, Jocelyn, I think you've taken several classes with us. If you guys want to let us know which classes you've taken before, we'd love to hear which one you've liked. And Jocelyn says, I'm so happy to be here and so happy to learn tilapia, a tilapia recipe.
Oh, yay.
Well, this is the perfect person to learn it from. And there's a lot of stories behind this tilapia that we're going to be cooking with today. Yeah, I think Jocelyn, you're like a regular on our virtual cooking classes. And for a few people that maybe haven't taken classes with us before, we've been doing cooking classes since 2012. Actually, even before, when we were in the basement of the church back in the 70s, there was like bread classes and so there's actually a long history.
It's okay.
Sorry, what did you say?
I just told my friend to come in.
Oh, good. That's good. Welcome. But yeah, we're so excited to have you all here today. Thanks for spending the Saturday with us. We're going to learn a lot. And then what's so fun about the virtual classes is that you get to experience the full cooking experience and then eat all of the goodies afterwards.
Which is
So
the best part.
nothing's better than that, you know. And we do offer in-person classes, and those are more demonstration based, but we do offer opportunities for people to kind of come up and cook with the instructor. And we're so lucky to have such a great group of community cooks, home cooks, people that are teaching their families recipes or
Thanks.
local food recipes. So yeah, we're excited. And you know, I tell everybody this, but we're all working in different kitchens with different ovens and different stovetops. So you know, things are a little bit more variable. So if you have questions or things come up where we need to brainstorm solutions, you just let us know. But
And don't be scared to ask me to slow down. Sometimes I'm so used to cooking that I can multitask and get away from myself. So please, if you need me to slow down, please ask.
yeah. But Anne, why don't you start us off by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about you, and then we can go into what we're making today.
Okay, my name is Ann Swanson. I started cooking in restaurants when I was in high school. And I always had an interest in keeping up with the men. And so I went to college at University of South Carolina and ran a restaurant down there, an Italian restaurant. And then I ended up moving to the coast and worked with a famous chef for a couple years and really refined my palate. We were doing farm to table. We had our own farm, 3-acre farm on Wadmalaw Island. And we were doing a little bit of food science too. And so when I came back to Illinois in 2010, I really had a love for how hard the farmers worked. And I want to make sure that, you know, in my culinary career that we give them a shout out and we support local product because it keeps the money in the community. It helps out our farmers who work so hard. I ended up starting a 10-acre teaching farm from 2013 to 2022 and was partnered with the schools. And it was really wonderful to have the agriculture and food side so we could introduce school children in our community where their food is grown and then how to cook the fresh food once it is grown. So it was exciting to see little kids say, I hate tomatoes, and then you make a homemade marinara and their mind is just totally blown, you know, oh, they do like tomatoes.
Yeah, that's the most precious thing I feel like you
Yeah.
can give a kid, and you know, such a learning and sensory experience for them too. And
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm focused on community initiatives with food insecurity and homelessness and working with at-risk groups to make sure that this wonderful food is available to everybody.
it's great. Well, yeah, we're honored to have you here. I was telling Emily and Anne earlier that Anne had done another class about a year or so ago, and I made the rest. I was so obsessed with the recipes, I made it the next week because I was just craving it. And so I'll at the end of this class, when I send out the recording today, I'll link her other recipe. And then you are doing you're going to be helping us with an in-person class in October.
Yes.
So that will be fun. It will be mushroom or fungi themed. So we're coordinating with the U of I students that are putting on like a fungi fest. So Anne was open to experimenting with some local mushrooms and making some dishes.
We're
So
going to be the fun guys.
yeah, the fungi. So we'll let you know when registration starts for that. But yeah, Anne, why don't we jump in? Oh, it looks like Jocelyn had responded about classes and said,
Okay.
I love the scones last time. One of my favorite classes because I could freeze them for later.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's with Hannah Fink. I'm actually helping her later today. She's getting married today. So
Oh my
she's
gosh.
cooked up all of her own cake.
Anna Fink.
What did you say, Marianne?
Never mind. We're just conversing. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
should
it's okay. So yeah, I think yeah, Anne, why don't you kind of break down what the menu today and what they'll need?
So we are making 5 items, not including the dessert, which is already made for you. But we'll talk about how Sarah and I worked on that this week. And it's very, very easy. And the recipe, you can actually manipulate it in a bunch of different ways to make different ice cream flavors, especially ones that you love. And so today we're making deviled eggs, which may not seem very fancy, but I think they're such a great staple. And it's summertime, and they're such a great side dish that you can use to go to tailgates or parties, or just have around for a snack. I love highlighting local eggs because they're so delicious. And then my friend Garen Sanchez, who's the chef of Capre at Prairie Fruits Farms, introduced me to sumac and chicken salad, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So now I can't stop using sumac and everything. And so I made this recipe for my husband, and he said, hands down, best deviled eggs you've ever used, or he's ever eaten. So, and then we're going to make baked tilapia. I like to bake the tilapia because it's less mess. I don't like grease in my kitchen. So it's just really easy to bake in the oven, and it turns out really, really nice. I'm so excited about local fish because I was cooking on the coast for 6 years. And when I came back to Illinois, and we just only had meat available. And so I'm super happy that Kloss Family Farms is doing aquaponics, and now we have access to local fish.
Mhm.
And tilapia is a fish that you can do so much with. It's great for fish tacos. It's not super fishy, and it's really, really light.
Mhm.
So I just love working with it. I'm so excited it's local, and I really love highlighting it. I think I highlight it in every cooking class I've had for the last year. So maybe I need to move back to meat soon. But anyway, I'm really excited for that. Also, we have wheat berries, and I'm going to show you the package. The wheat berries come from Janie's Mill, which is just north of us, and I love this as an alternative starch to a meal. First of all, this package can sit in your freezer for years and years and years, and nothing will go bad. My husband was cleaning out the fridge and tried to throw them away, and thank God I caught him. But I absolutely love these wheat berries. They're such a nice alternative, healthy alternative, really, to like pasta or potatoes or something really heavy.
Mhm.
And they're really nice because they're super versatile. So you can use them in winter as braising with your greens, which is the recipe Sarah was talking about. And then you can also use them in the summer in light cold salads. So they're super versatile, and they just have a really long shelf life if you keep them in the freezer.
We had a really cool story about Janie's Mill, which is the farm and the flour mill in Ashcombe, Illinois. So about like 45 an hour north of here. And we hadn't actually sourced from them until 2020, wherein, all of our local suppliers were really, they were our mainstays because food insecurities during COVID and the pandemic. And so we were actually looking for another local flour source. And I read on BBC. So BBC was covering Janie's Mill because they were schlepping all this flour over to Europe because of the flour shortages that were happening. And so it's really amazing that they were working like 24 hours, like milling local grains. And they're really an interesting farm because Harold, he has worked with his neighbor farmers to convert to organic. So there's a lot of conventional corn and soy farmers that are curious about how successful he has been. And so he is now getting to kind of pick and choose the farms that are closest to the mill, and he teaches them how to convert to organic. And so they're even, one of the first years they're growing like soybeans for tofu up in Chicago. So it's a really cool farm to support. And and it's also great. It's so much more interesting. They're using like a lot of heirloom varieties, so extra flavors and things like that. But
if you drive up there, I have to give a shout out. I think this is the best restaurant besides Capre in our area. It's called Beans, Barley, and Brew. And it looks like a gas station right off the Ashcombe exit, but it's run by kind of a mom and pop, and they do all scratch cooking, and all their meat comes from within 20 miles of the area.
Oh,
and
what's it called?
Beans, Barley, and Brew. And so every time we're driving up 57, we have to stop. And now I've got my whole family that's stopping anytime they're traveling up and back from Chicago. So
That's
definitely
amazing.
look that up if you go pick up your wheat berries and flour in person.
A good halfway point too.
Yeah.
I just put it in the chat. So if you want to, we should all go for one of our.
It's very, very good.
We'll road trip for our next class.
Yeah.
But Well, that sounds so great. So,
So the wheat berries we're doing today are going to be kind of a cooler, we're actually going to cook them and then we're going to cool them off because they're supposed to be served a little bit cold, like a cold salad item with the fish, which is also a little bit lighter since it's been so freaking hot this summer. And when it's not hot, it's been raining. So I think I've been outside like maybe 3 times. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft because I'm not a farmer anymore, but
I
it's
know.
been brutal.
I know. I went outside for like the first time in a little bit yesterday, and it was like 6 o'clock. It was gorgeous out, and then the mosquitoes. I'm like, no!
Yeah,
But
something. We
yeah.
live in the Midwest. So
Yeah,
if it's
but-
not windy or
yeah, but a good walk keeps those mosquitoes away, and
Yeah.
you get to enjoy everything.
yeah, at 10 o'clock after
Yeah.
the heat, after the heat's over.
Yeah.
So with the fish, we're gonna do a homemade easy remoulade recipe. I love capers. Capers are so good. They're super salty, and it just adds like a nice creamy dipping sauce for the fish. And then we are going to do, let me see if I've forgotten anything. Nope. And then we're on to dessert. And I'll talk about the sweet corn ice cream we made, and the sweet corn was local. So if you guys come to the market, you can find really delicious stuff, or if you have a friend that's growing it. I feel like we get offered so much sweet corn this time of year that I can't keep up with it. So, and it's so wonderful. I even eat it raw. I mean, it's so good. Or you can take it off the cob and make a really good corn salsa. You can make a corn salad out of it. So there's lots of things to do with sweet corn.
And I'm really excited for you to try the sweet corn ice cream. We had a couple pints left over, and I was eating away at it yesterday, and it was so tasty. And I keep, yeah, that flavor, that corn flavor is really, you really can taste it, and it just also has that. It's almost like better than vanilla, you know, like
Yeah.
it's got that really nice sweet flavor. But okay, well, why don't we jump in?
Okay. So if you can see here, I've kind of set up my mise en place, which is French for materials that you're going to need to cook with. So I have a cutting board with a knife, and I've kind of set my stuff up by recipe. So if you take out your what you'll need card, you're going to need a cutting board, which I have here, a knife, mixing bowls, which I have staged over here, and just kind of some tools like this that I know I'm going to need later. Some spoons, a mesh
Strainer.
yes, the words are escaping me, and a measuring cup, okay, and some trays. So, and then I've got my blueberry vinaigrette ready to go with all the ingredients next to the blender. So if you guys want a couple minutes to just kind of get your mise en place together, I like to put ingredients with the dish that I'm going to make. So you can see this is going to be my breading station for my tilapia. I have the Old Bay seasoning, breadcrumbs, cornstarch, and sour cream for that. And it just kind of helps me be organized so I'm not looking for stuff when I need it.
And you picked out this kind of Tupperware container, and this is going to be kind of like your compost or trash bin.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So when you're working in fine dining restaurants, you have to have kind of a trash bin or a compost container. Number one, because we were composting, but also number two, you don't want to work over a garbage can because in case your food falls in, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always better to work with something clean that you can kind of pull out if something falls in. So this is kind of a waste bin for me. Okay. So I actually took a pen with the ingredient recipe cards, and I marked what we're going to work on first and then all the way down to what will be last. So the first thing we're going to work on is the wheat berries. So the wheat berries take the longest out of all these recipes. So we're going to get those started and have them cook for a little bit while we kind of do other things like multitask. So the way I rated these recipes is by what's going to take the longest all the way down to the dessert, which is already pre-made, and we just have to top it. So the first thing we're going to do, if you guys want to label your recipe cards, are the wheat berries, okay? And then the second thing we're going to do are the eggs. So you can see I have a little pot on here for wheat berries, and this has nothing in it. And then I have another pot, which is 3/4 full of water that's just sitting on a burner ready to go when we're ready for the eggs. Those are going to be the first two recipes. And then we're gonna follow it by the caper remoulade. I'm gonna teach you how to make that. And that's
Mhm.
just a mixing bowl. So I have all my stuff here for the caper remoulade. And then we're going to do the blueberry vinaigrette.
Mhm.
And lastly, we're going, oh, and then the fish, we're gonna bread the fish. That doesn't take long at all. I will ask you to preheat your ovens right now.
Mhm.
It says 375, but our oven runs super hot. So if you guys have a regular oven that cooks pretty true to temp, then I would go ahead and preheat your oven to 400. You can even go as high as 425. It'll just take less time for the fish to cook.
Okay.
But the reason we want it that high is because we want the breadcrumbs to brown a little bit while it cooks, and it won't take that long because your tilapia is not super thick.
Right, right.
Okay, so is
Cool.
everybody ready? I'm gonna get started. If you guys are ready, or if you need a little bit more time to get your mise en place together, that's totally fine. We can just continue to talk with each
Yeah,
other,
and
Sarah.
I'll make sure to repeat as we go along. So nobody will get lost. We'll be all together.
So get out your wheatberry recipe because that's what we're gonna start with. And it's gonna be followed by the local deviled eggs.
Okay, I'm gonna get a little close-up camera so you can see everything. Oh, that you can see my hand. Let me get this reversed for you. Or maybe you'll always see my chin. Okay, let's get you. So we're gonna spotlight. Yeah.
So I have to say, after working in French Brigade kitchens, which was very intense and everything had to be perfect, including your cuts, and if not, you were probably screamed at or thrown off the line and definitely forced to do it over. So it actually burnt me out on cooking for a little bit. And now when I cook, you know, I love to work. I love to do community initiatives. I'm also a teacher at an at-risk high school. So when I cook, I do it for fun. And I've realized that you don't need 35 components to one dish to make it taste good and make it beautiful. So, you know, I've started to simplify my food a little bit and just highlight the local flavors. So, it's been much more enjoyable for me to now cook for my friends because it doesn't have to be fancy and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to taste good.
Oh yeah, and it does with all those extra flavors from our local farms.
Yeah. Okay, is everybody ready?
I'll get the chat going. And if you want, you're welcome to type into the chat and ask any questions as we go along. Or unmute, whatever you like.
Okay, so I have one garlic clove here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it on my cutting board. And this is the easiest way to work with fresh garlic is you take the side of your knife with the blade pointing down a little bit and you just hit it and smash the clove. And then this is what it looks like. And you can easily peel the outer edge off the clove. And it just comes right off. And that's okay if your clove comes in pieces or falls apart in pieces because we're actually going to be dicing it anyway. And so I just try to dice a really small dice because nobody wants a big bite of garlic in their food unless you really like garlic.
If it's in tomato sauce for a long time.
Yeah.
Buttery.
It softens it up. If it's like roasted garlic, I can definitely do that. But garlic's super spicy when it's raw. So, and I'm just doing a very small cut, just like that. Okay. And I'm gonna push this to the edge of my cutting board while I cut my onion, okay? And what I'm gonna do with my onion is I'm gonna peel all the extra skin off and put it in my compost bin. And then I'm gonna slice the top and I'm also gonna slice the back so it stands up like this. And I'm gonna show you guys a really easy trick, and some of you may already know this since you guys are home cooks, to dice an onion. So I'm gonna cut it in half. And actually, you're only gonna use half of this onion. So I'm gonna put the other half behind me. And you can save it, you can dice it now, but it goes bad faster if you dice it now. But I would put it in a Ziploc bag and save it for another recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel the outer skin off. Do you know this trick, Sarah?
Is it the looking for those striations?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me about that one.
I mean, the little, I was told that the lines that the onion tells you where to cut. So like
Uh-huh.
these little lines, you can cut
Oh,
along those
nice.
lines.
No, see, I learned something new today.
But I want to know your trick.
Okay, so there's a little bit in the middle of some more peel, and I'm gonna take that out because it's kind of papery when you taste it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna cut that off and dice this separately. So my trick is that you take your half onion and you put your hand flat on the top of it like this, because you don't want to cut your fingers when you're cutting. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make about a 1/4 inch slice on the bottom, but I'm not gonna go all the way through to the back, okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna make about another one just on top of that. I'm not going all the way through. And another one on top of that, and probably another small one.
So it all
Okay.
stays together.
So it has cuts on the bottom, but it stays together on the back. And then I'm gonna cut crossways, the same thing, about a 1/4 inch. And it's okay if these are a little bigger than a 1/4 inch. I mean, this is your world. So I'm gonna take these extra pieces and just dice them, and I'm gonna mix them in with my garlic. And then for the final cut, so I've cut horizontally, and then I've cut vertically, and now I'm gonna cut across, and it makes a really easy uniform dice. And the reason you want your vegetables uniform, can you guys see that? Is because you want them all to cook at the same rate. So if you have like a huge piece of onion with a little piece of onion, that little piece of onion is going to get cooked way faster than the bigger pieces, okay? So, and then I'm just going to dice the rest of it real easy
Love that.
and add that. And I'm going to do the same thing with this baby onion. I'm going to put my palm on it, and I'll just make less cuts. So I did it halfway. Now I'm going to go across, and then I'm going to cut across like that. Okay, so now we have our garlic and onion. I'm going to grab a towel real quick.
Okay.
And is everybody to this step? Because now we're going to start cooking.
So it was just the half onion, small diced, and then that 1 clove of garlic that we gave you diced up, or like kind of larger mince.
Oh, I got a thumbs up. Okay, great.
Cool. All right, Jocelyn.
So now I'm going to take my wheat berries. Now, wheat berries kind of have a film on them from being milled and taken off the plant. Okay, so and I would think of cooking wheat berries like risotto. Have you guys ever cooked risotto? It's the same thing. And risotto and wheat berries have the same texture. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook them low and slow. We're not going to put a lot of liquid on them, and we're going to let the liquid reduce. And then if we need to add more, we just add more until it covers the top. So I'm going to open my wheat berries, and I'm going to give them a little rinse real quick. So I got a mesh strainer here.
My
microphone cord just tied up my thumb. So I'm just going to dump these in, and I'm going to give them a quick wash.
Cold water, hot water. What do you think?
Cold water, please. Yeah, cold water. And all you want to do is just give them a good rinse. Okay. And then I'm going to shake off the excess liquid. And I'm going to put it back on my deli so it's ready to go. See if it'll stay. Okay. So now we're ready to cook. I'm going to turn my burner on high to start. If you guys are uncomfortable with high cooking, you can do medium high. We're just going to saute the garlic and onions in vegetable oil. So I don't want to put a lot of vegetable oil in the pot because I don't want my wheat berries to be super oily. So I'm just going to put about half a tablespoon in.
And our induction burners, they go fast. They get hot kind of immediately. So our sauteing might take a little bit less time than.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the oil just covers the bottom of the pot. And I'm going to wait for it to get hot. And you can kind of tell when the pan's ready because the oil starts to ripple a little bit in the bottom. And you can also throw a kernel of salt in there. And if the salt starts to simmer, then you know it's ready. And it's okay if you put your vegetables in before it's actually ready, no big deal. There's really no way to mess this up unless you burn the garlic, and don't burn the garlic. So that's why we're mixing the onions and the garlic together. Because the onions have a little bit more moisture than the garlic, and so they will help the garlic not to burn. And I just have a regular spatula here that I'm stirring with. And really what I want is I want the onions to turn a little bit translucent. And I don't know about you, but I love the smell of garlic and onions.
too.
It
I
fills
know.
up your house and it smells so homey and
Yeah,
good.
comforting.
Yeah.
It's like the start. It's kind of like the start for every recipe.
Yeah.
Not all recipes, but basically.
So if you're using your wheat berries in like a wintry dish or a fall dish, you can add a mirepoix to your wheat berries, and it'll make them, round out the flavor. It'll make them taste really good, especially if you're mixing your wheat berries with braised greens, or like winter squash.
Mhm.
And a mirepoix is a mixture of onions, celery, and carrots. And it's the base for all cooking. So sauces, stock, and it's really good.
Mhm.
Okay, so my onions are starting to turn translucent. So now I'm going to add my wheat berries. You can see that a little more water drained off, which is good. So I'm going to add my wheat berries straight to the pot.
Okay.
And the reason I'm adding them now is because I want to toast them a little bit.
Kind of similar to risotto with like toasting
Yeah.
rice.
It's just like cooking risotto.
How many of you guys have cooked with wheat berries before? I'm really curious.
Oh, yeah.
We have them in the bulk section. We ordered a special variety from Janie's Mill, which is a soft winter wheat. First time for Jocelyn. Awesome.
Well, I hope you fall in love with them like we had, because
Mhm.
they are so great, versatile. They're lighter to eat than heavy starches.
Hmm.
And they can be a whole meal in themselves. You can make stews with them. You can make, you can make cold salads with them. You can make winter dishes with them. They're so good.
Hmm. I think the only thing that I've noticed with wheat berries is they do, like Ann says, they do need time to cook. So sometimes you'll be like, oh, by now it's definitely done. And then you'll try a couple kernels. You'll be
And
like,
you'll break
okay.
a tooth.
And you'll be like, no.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Well, haven't broken a tooth, but
It looks like I broke it. But I'm in the middle of having dental surgery, so
Yeah.
you'll have to forgive me. But you can see that the pan is starting to brown a little bit on the bottom. And don't get nervous about that, because that's just flavor that's cooking in. And once we add our stock, we're going to get all that brown off the bottom of the pan, and we're going to mix it in with our wheat berries. So you can see that I'm constantly stirring these because I don't want them to burn the bottom of the pan. So now the pot looks like this. I don't know if you guys can kind of see the browning on the edges.
Mhm.
My wheat berries are not sticking to the bottom of the pot, which is good.
Do we need to turn the temp down, you think?
So I would keep the temp high or medium high, and then I'm going to add my vegetable broth.
Okay.
And you can hear it kind of sizzle, and I'm going to add enough so that it just covers the top of the wheat berries.
Nice.
All right. And then I'm going to set this aside because you're going to need the rest of this.
Mhm.
So you can see that the wheat berries are just covered barely on the top. And now this is where we're going to bring the liquid up to a boil, and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. And we're kind of going to move on to another step. Let me clean up the wheat berries.
I think I mentioned this the last time we cooked wheat berries together, but your method for kind of cooking them low and slow and giving them only the broth or the liquid that they really truly need at that time is something that a lot of other teachers have taught with different cuisines. Like that's like a standby procedure for one of our Ethiopian instructors that used to teach when he was cooking lentils, as he would
I
he would
love
always
lentils.
say, like, you want the grains or the legumes to be thirsty, but not too, you want to give them water when they need it, but not over.
That's a good life lesson.
Yeah. Hydrate when they're needing,
Yeah.
like he's all about listening to the food. So
That's
when you notice
awesome.
that it really is getting dry and you need to add more liquid, that is kind of like the natural thing to do. So I like that you don't just, because there's other recipes you'll find that would probably just, have them
No, don't do that.
fill all and it becomes a soup,
Yeah. And if they cook before all of that liquid reduces down, then you're going to have to strain off all that good liquid and you're
Yeah.
not really able to save it because it's so starchy.
Uh-huh.
So this is a good way to just do low and slow and add liquid when it's needed. So now that the liquid's in, I have turned this down a little bit, but I still want it to kind of simmer.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep my eye on it while I start the eggs. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to occasionally stir it if it needs to be stirred. So drop it down to a simmer. Looks like I dropped mine down too much. I'm going to turn it back up.
Sometimes the induction burners are interesting, and some of you know this just from cooking with us over the classes, where the induction burners are different from gas, where they'll get so hot right away, and then once you add the liquid, you really need to kind of add the kind of keep toggling with the heat. But it looks like it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting better. So I would drop down to a little below medium on your stove, and you can see that the liquid's starting to do a really soft boil, and that's about what you want. And again, you're going to occasionally stir it just like this. Okay. So now that that's ready and it's good to go, we're going to keep an eye on it, but we're going to move on to something else. We're going to start the burner for our boiling water for the eggs.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn this burner on high, and then I'm going to get an ice bath. Don't forget that you need an ice bath ready for your eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put ice in a mixing bowl, and then when my eggs are almost ready, I'll add the water later because the water will actually make the ice melt more if you add it right away.
Gotcha. So what we have is we just have two things on the stove now. We've got our wheat berries in a small saucepan, and then we also have another saucepan with like lukewarm water, basically. And we're just going to heat that up, you said, to boil.
Yeah. So you want a rapid boil on this. And this recipe for hard-boiled eggs is tried and true. I know that everybody has a different way to cook hard-boiled eggs, but this one, the yolks come out, super bright. There's no green around them. They're not runny. So there's a good way to do soft-boiled eggs too, if you just do less time. And I'll show you that while we do it too. And soft-boiled eggs are great with noodles.
Yeah, what's the green around them? That gave me a flashback to childhood or something.
If you overcook the deviled eggs, it'll get this green ring around it.
Around the yolk?
It's not good. That's not what you want. So I'm gonna put ice in this bowl just so that I have it ready.
And then do you want me to lower the wheat berries a little bit? Are you happy?
Good, yeah.
So this is what our wheat berries look like. Yours might take a little bit more time to get there. All stove tops are different. So you're just looking for that nice simmer.
Okay. So I've got my bowl of ice, which looks like this. It's about 3/4 full. Again, I'm not adding my water. So I'm going to set that back here. And I've got the mise en place for my eggs. So everybody should have 6 eggs, which will make 12 deviled eggs, which is perfect for 2 people because I don't know about you, but when I see a deviled egg, I eat like 5 at a time.
Yeah.
So this will give you 12 deviled eggs if everything works okay. And I'll show you a good way to drop them in the boiling water. It is good to bring your eggs out to room temp. So if you haven't done that while we're waiting for the boiling water, go ahead and pull them out of the refrigerator or your bag and set them next to the pot. Okay, so I've got more of a rapid boil on my wheat berries. So I am going to turn it down just a hair because we don't want it rapidly boiling. We want more of a simmer. And you can see that liquid is evaporating and it's soaking into the onions and the wheat berries. That's good. That's what you want. So I'm not ready to add more liquid yet, but I know that I'm gonna have to add it soon.
And the wheat berries actually started to turn a lot brighter or whiter color. Like all the
Soaking up all that
yeah,
goodness. So at this point, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to the wheat berries because I want them to cook while they're seasoned. Nope, that's not it. And everybody should have a little container with 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'm gonna open that up. And I'm just gonna do a small pinch in the wheat berries because really I just want them to cook in with a little bit of flavor, but I'm not doing the final seasoning until the dish is ready. Because as the wheat berries reduce in their liquid, the flavor is gonna get stronger. So you can always add more salt, but you can't take it away.
Mhm.
That's a good rule for cooking. Less is best.
Yeah, and I've always been a big salty food person,
Oh,
but
me too.
I waking up in the middle of the night because you're so thirsty is not not where you want to be. And I've noticed that I've tried to pull back a little bit on the salt when cooking and just adding a little bit more at the end so that it's like you really can taste
Yeah, definitely. So while you're waiting on your water to boil, there's other stuff you can be doing. You can kind of clean up from your wheat berries. You know, if working in French Brigade kitchens, everything had to be very perfect and pretty. But one thing it taught me is that the cleaner you cook, the cleaner your food comes out. So it's nice to have things organized. It's nice to be able to have time to wipe down your area so that you keep a clear head and you know that you're focused on your food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that's kind of followed me through life. Even as a farmer, we would end our day a half an hour early and we would clean up the barn where we stored all our equipment, and we would do a sweep and a mop of the offices. And that way, when you come to work the next day, everything's all ready to go and you're not wasting time doing projects from the day before, or you're not wasting time cleaning up from the day before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like
look,
doing dishes, you know.
do them all right away.
Rather than my kitchen right now, it's like inherited yesterday's dinner. But
Oh yeah. Well, everybody's busy. But I have a funny story for you. So even though I'm a chef, I work a lot, and my husband couldn't even cook a grilled cheese. I don't know how he survived for 44 years without a wife. But anyway, he's a great man. He just, never learned to cook. And so while I'm telling the story, you can see that the liquid is starting to really reduce. So I'm going to add a little bit more just to cover the top again.
okay.
And I'm not really measuring this out. I just want to cover the top so the wheat berries are kind of submerged, but not too submerged, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we signed up for HelloFresh, and it's kind of a cooking kit like this. And what was so great about HelloFresh, even though I'm a chef, is that my husband learned how to cook.
Yeah.
And what was
great.
even greater about that is that I taught him how to cook clean. So when he cooks dinner now, the entire kitchen is sparkling before we sit down to eat. So I feel like this is a win-win.
Go read.
Yeah, go read. And there's no shame in doing kit cooking, especially if you need to learn how to cook. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like best case scenario where all your ingredients are measured out for you, and it's a really great way to learn how to do it.
Yeah, and all these different recipes, it's so easy to get stuck in the same rut.
Yes.
Like even, I've worked here for 12 years, and so even now I'm like, what am I gonna have for dinner? And I'm like, I work at a grocery store, you would think.
Yeah.
But it's nice to get some new recipes, and I think that's why a lot of people like doing these cooking classes. Like one of our students, Genevieve, shout out Genevieve if you're going to be watching this tomorrow. But she has like a whole recipe book now of all of the classes that she's taken.
Oh, that's
She's
awesome.
learned how to cook and has all of her notes. She watches it and then cooks it. So yeah.
Yeah, we actually made a recipe book with our HelloFresh recipes. So that way, if I never have to hear what's for dinner again, I think we would have such a successful marriage and life. I hate that sentence. What's for dinner?
I know.
Anyway, so yeah, we created a recipe book out of ours too. And it's just a great way to cook. It's easy, and it's easy to teach someone else. So okay. Now our water is boiling. Is your water boiling yet? Thumbs up.
water boils usually faster, but that's okay.
We're in induction burners. Do you have the timer, Sarah?
Yeah, actually, would you mind setting a timer, Emily?
So go ahead and get a timer out, get your phone out, because this is pretty exact. I'm actually gonna get a slotted spoon like this, and I'm gonna carefully drop my eggs into the boiling water.
Yu says, not yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop mine in, but you guys just go at your own pace. It's totally fine. Once I drop all my eggs in the boiling water very carefully, you want to make sure you don't crack a shell hitting the bottom. So I'm kind of ladling them in instead of just throwing them in.
Yeah, hoping for the best.
For the best. I don't want to waste any of these really wonderful local eggs.
Oh, speaking of that, I would like to kind of share a little shout out to the farm, Moore Family Farm. So they're actually, we have the most
Hold on
local
one second,
eggs.
Sarah. Set that timer for 10 minutes.
Perfect.
And I'm going to add my baking soda and continue on, Sarah.
So baking soda after you put the 6 eggs in. But yeah, Moore Family Farm is where our eggs come from today that we're using. And they, on both sides of their families, they have more than 100 years of farming. Diane and Jim met at the Future Farmers for America back as like tweens, and they were like high school sweethearts, and they have like the sweetest farm. They do it all. So they do vegetables. You'll see them at farmers markets on Saturday. They also supply us a lot of meat and eggs. There's even been a couple years where they had chickens that had double yolks. So it'll be interesting.
Lucky.
Yeah, there was a whole carton full of double yolks.
Really?
It was amazing.
Did you eat them?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're like the luckiest person
I know,
in the
I guess
world
so.
out there.
I know. I'm like, and my husband loves eating eggs. But the coolest part about Moore Family Farm is they're one of the only farms that I know of that is currently growing all the feed that they need for their animals on their property. So all of everything is kind of a full system, rather than just depending on other sources for feed elsewhere. They farm it all, the alfalfa, and they have a whole equation for what they're going to need, and they grow it all.
That's such a good way to farm, because the less you have to rely on other suppliers, especially in this economy where things are, crazy expensive and hard to get sometimes. It's really important that you're self-sufficient. So that's an incredibly smart way to run your farm. So going back to the wheat berries, you can kind of see that they're turning another nice, like caramel brown color. That's what you want. So that's good. That means they're taking up all that juice and they're cooking, and I'm just gonna kind of let them stew and leave them alone.
Marion says, how much time on the eggs? So we set it for 10 minutes. So when you put them into that boiling water, ladle them into the hot water, and then we added the 2 tablespoons of the baking soda. Was it baking powder? Baking soda?
Baking soda.
Baking soda. And then set a timer for 10 minutes.
And now if you're using regular eggs and not local eggs, you don't have to add the baking soda. But the baking soda is just kind of a little trick to help the albumin layer in between the shell and the actual egg. It's so fresh with local eggs that it makes it incredibly hard to peel. But again, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for taste and supporting local farmers. So, but it's said, this could be myth or this could be truth, that baking soda will help the shell kind of peel away from the egg. So we've got our eggs boiling. How much time is left on the timer? 7 minutes. Okay. How's everybody feel about 2 things going at once? I'm kind of worried to start another thing. Maybe we should wait on the eggs. What do you guys think? You ready to start on another recipe? Or is this too fast? Let me know the pace you guys are going.
So you says ready.
Okay, great.
Few minutes to catch up.
Okay.
Sounds good, Jocelyn.
Yep, we'll wait. So you can see I didn't turn this water down. I want the eggs at a rapid boil. So what we're going to do is we're going to boil them for 10 minutes, and then we're going to turn the heat off and move them off the hot burner, and then we're going to let them sit for 10 minutes. And that's when you want to get your ice bath ready, okay? We're not going to pull them out until after the second set of 10 minutes go by, and then we're going to immediately pull it out with our ladle and put them straight into the ice bath.
Great.
Okay,
Love it.
all right. Let us know when you guys are ready for the next recipe.
Marion says, yes, okay to start.
Okay, great.
And Jocelyn, you just let us know. We're happy to do a little slow gathering of ingredients for the next bit, or do an intro on what we're gonna be doing next, which is the remoulade.
Yeah, so I can make the remoulade right here in a space where I can keep watch over my other stuff. So that's really important. So this is just kind of a little easy recipe you can do while you're watching your other things cook. And it's important to be able to multitask a little bit, because unless you're cooking ahead, it will take forever to get all this stuff done, and it wouldn't be done by dinner time. So, and you're very welcome. I mean, you can make the remoulade ahead with your fish. It'll sit nicely for 2 days in the fridge. You can make your wheat berries ahead of time, because what we're going to do after our wheat berries cook is we're going to cool them down so that they're a nice cool salad. And then you can also make your deviled eggs ahead of time. So
Turn the timer on.
I am going to, is that the timer?
That's actually, we have a timer for the oven, so as long as we
Okay.
just reset that, we'll be good. It'll keep preheating.
So my wheat berries are getting a little bit low on liquid, as you can see. Once there's kind of a mound on top that's not covered in liquid, that's when you want to add a little bit more.
Okay.
So I'm going to add a little bit more liquid and let them reduce again. Notice I haven't tasted them yet because I don't want to break another tooth. So I know they're not ready yet, but a couple more times of adding liquid, I think it'll be okay to taste.
And then if you ever run out of broth, do you just sub it in for water, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So actually water, I think, is in the recipe. So if you run out of broth, you can add water. Just remember that the water is going to dilute the flavor, and you want to add a little bit more salt to it at the end. Also, I try to make vegetarian friendly recipes. So, but if you're not a vegetarian, you can add any kind of stock you want to this. You can add beef stock, pork stock, chicken stock, and it'll give it a lot of extra flavor. And I highly encourage using some meat stock, especially if you're going to do like a stew in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It just makes it a little bit more rounded out. All right. Can I get a timer on the eggs, please? Okay, we've got 3.5 minutes left on the eggs. My wheat berries are doing well. Now I'm going to start on my remoulade sauce. So I'm going to grab a mixing bowl.
Okay.
And this is just a small mixing bowl. And I'm going to grab a spatula.
How's everybody doing? Okay.
Everybody good? Okay. So I learned to cook in the South. So according to me, the best mayonnaise ever invented, unless you're making your own aioli, is Duke's mayonnaise. So it's actually a crisis in our house when we run out of Duke's mayonnaise.
Wow.
And I like it because it has this kind of sour special flavor to it. And so I really love it on sandwiches. I love it in deviled eggs. I love it in sauces.
Okay.
Duke's mayonnaise is the way to go. You can find it at almost any grocery store now. It's not a special item, unless you're talking to me, and then I think it's very special. So you are going to need some of this mayonnaise for the eggs. So make sure you follow the recipe and don't use it all for the remoulade sauce, okay? So I'm going to use 1 cup of Duke's mayonnaise, and this is 1 1/4 cups. And the reason I'm not a baker or a pastry chef is because I don't like exact recipes. I love throwing a little bit of this in and a little bit of that in, and then tasting it and see what we need more. So you'll often find when I cook that I don't use recipes, but I know that can be a little bit intimidating for beginning cooks. So I'm going to put about 3/4 cup in, and you can see that I have this much left.
Okay, so 3/4 cup typical. Right.
Yeah, and if it needs more, just add more. You're not going to mess this up, I promise. And looking at my recipe, I see.
Would you tell me a little bit more about why they call it remoulade?
Yeah, so remoulade is just a fancy name for tartar sauce.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of a chef's trick that if you're cooking a dinner you can use all these fancy words and make the dinner sound like super 5-star.
Like aioli.
Exactly. And aioli is just a fancy word for mayonnaise, homemade mayonnaise. And aioli is made with egg yolks, lemon juice, salt, and you emulsify the olive oil in. It's super easy to make. But again, you know, if you don't have a lot of time to cook when you get home, Duke's mayonnaise is a really wonderful substitute.
We're gonna get them sponsored.
Yeah,
You'll be there.
Is
We'll
it
send that
time?
to them.
It's about 30 seconds.
Okay, so we have 30 seconds on our eggs. So I'm gonna just keep a watch on that. I'm gonna look at the next part of our recipe. It says lemon juice and zest. So lemon zest has super amounts of flavor. So I would highly recommend if you cook anything and it calls for lemon, absolutely put the zest in before you put the lemon juice in. Once you kind of cut up the lemon, it's going to be hard to zest it. You can use a cheese grater. I have actually, this is called a microplane. And it's a really great tool to zest. You can use it for baking and pastry. Okay. So I've been told it's time. I'm going to turn my burner off and I'm going to move it off the hot surface and then immediately set a timer for 10 more minutes.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm going to take my microplane, and if you're using a cheese zester, be careful to just get the outside rind because the pith can be really bitter.
Yeah, so that white part.
And I'll show you what the pith looks like and the difference between the zest of the outer layer and the pith. So I'm going to start zesting. And as I'm zesting, I'm kind of moving my lemon from top to bottom. So I'm not over zesting the parts to get the pith in. Okay. And so you can see how I've just zested the outer rind. And this is kind of the pith right here. You really don't want that in your sauce or your dressing or your remoulade because it tastes really bitter. And the rind really has a strong flavor. So I may not even use this entire lemon because I love acid. It's my favorite component to foods. And I have a really big problem sometimes with adding too much vinegar or too much lemon juice. So I have to be careful.
Jocelyn says, I think I've been over zesting all my life.
Girl, me too. Me too. I love vinegar. I think when I was a child, my mom reminded me that I was dipping crackers in just white distilled vinegar and eating them. I really love vinegar a lot. And vinegar and wheat berries go like peas and carrots.
True.
So this is a pretty big lemon. So I'm going to start by squeezing about half of it into my mixing bowl with my mayonnaise and my zest. And don't forget that zest is going to add a lot of citrus flavor to it, okay? So you don't want to overdo it. And the way I add my lemon juice is I'm squeezing the lemon with the inside facing up. So that way the juice runs out and you don't get any seeds in your remoulade sauce. And then I'm going to put this in my compost bin. How's everybody's wheat berries doing? Are they doing okay?
Yeah, ours are getting darker.
Yeah, so you can see that caramelization color on them. So they're getting good. And you can also start to see that they're fattening up. So they're kind of soaking up that liquid, and they're starting to get fat a little bit. And that's how you can tell that they're starting to get closer to being done. Okay, what's next on our recipe? So we've got the lemon juice, we've got the Duke's mayo. Now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of capers. I love capers. They're super salty. You can make sauces out of them, like a white wine lemon pan sauce with fish. That's really good. Piccata is really famous. That's like you can make a piccata sauce. So it says to chop these capers, but I'm actually going to put them in whole. Just because I love that burst of the salty berry in my mouth when I eat it.
Okay, great. And we've pre-portioned everything. So I believe there's no outliers except for like the salt and some of the things. You'll just have to, but yeah, 1 tablespoon of the capers.
Yeah. And next we're going to add our Dijon mustard. Now this gives it kind of a spice and a tangy flavor. So I'm going to take this spatula that I used for my Duke's mayonnaise, and I'm going to try to get all of this in there. And I'm gonna actually wipe the bowl with my spatula so we get it all in. All right. And then instead of adding yellow onion, I'm gonna add green onion. I think the green onion is like a champion onion that kind of is a finisher to sauces typically. Because when you saute the green part of the onion, it gets a little bit wilty and gross. And I have a thing about like wilty greens and
They look
wilty stuff.
slimy.
Yeah, it's just not good. You can, however, saute the white part, and that's really good. But for this purpose right here, we're gonna use the greens. And if you have any wilty part of the greens, just cut them off because those aren't gonna taste good. And that's okay. Okay, so we've got our greens, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna thinly slice them. And you don't want a really big mouthful of scallions because again, even though they're a lot less robust than a regular onion, I don't like that huge onion flavor in my mouth. Kind of like the garlic. I don't want a huge garlic flavor in my mouth. I'm looking for balance. So I'm thinning them pretty if they're pretty thin, slicing them pretty thin. I think I got my words mixed up.
And then do you keep going until you hit a little bit of the white? Or?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go until I hit this part. Now this part you can save in a Ziploc bag and you can absolutely use it later, especially if you're making a stock or a sauce or or a pasta. This is really great sauteed. The white part is. So I'm gonna take my scallions and I'm gonna mix them in with everything else. And this is just real easy. You're just throwing everything into a bowl and mixing it all out. So I have everything in here now except for my salt. So I'm gonna mix everything together. And then we're gonna give it a taste and see what it needs, okay?
Okay.
And don't be scared to add, extra lemon juice or extra mayonnaise. Everybody has their own palate.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt from our 2 teaspoons of salt. And again, I'm just gonna add a pinch.
Because those capers are brine, so they'll be.
Yeah, so the capers are salty. Okay. I'm checking my wheat berries. They look good, but they need a little bit more stock. You can see again that I have a big mound of berries that aren't submerged in liquid. So I'm gonna spoon them out evenly. And then I'm gonna add some more stock to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm mixing in my salt with my remoulade.
I've got little spoons. Feel free to taste as you go.
And remoulade is super easy to make, and it's so much better than store-bought tartar sauce. Now you can add eggs to this, hard-boiled eggs. You can add onions to this. You can even add pickle relish to this. So the world is your oyster on this remoulade sauce. I like mine really simple with just capers. And so now that I taste it, what I'm going to look for is that lemon flavor. I'm going to look for the saltiness of the caper. And then I'm going to look for the dairy part of the mayonnaise that kind of rounds everything out.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, I like that. But I think it needs more citrus. And again, this could be me adding too much vinegar.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm actually going to add juice of the other lemon. And then I'm going to mix it up again and test it again. Thank you, Sarah. And when you try to bite it, make sure you get all the ingredients in one bite. So get a caper, get a scallion, because you want to know what it tastes like all together. So that way you know what to add to it. So I added the lemon juice to it and it made it brighter. It made it more citrusy and it just rounded it out a little bit better. So you guys happy with that?
Yeah, delish.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take my remoulade sauce. And how's my timer on the eggs?
I think we've got 1:45 on it.
Okay, great. So I'm going to put the remoulade sauce in a serving dish. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator so it stays cold.
Okay.
And you want that mayonnaise to kind of hold its body. And the hotter the mayonnaise gets, the looser it gets. So we want to make sure it stays nice and not firm, but not loosey-goosey. Okay, so now we've got our remoulade sauce done.
Great. Yay.
And I'm going to put this in the fridge. Our eggs are almost finished. And our wheat berries are well on their way to being finished again.
Mm-hmm. How's everybody doing? A little check-in.
Austin says, yum. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what we like to
I
hear.
know. I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys add the additional lemon? Did you just keep it to the half a lemon?
What are they saying? Okay.
Justin says whole lemon.
Oh, lemon.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I really like that citrus flavor, and it's going to really match the fish really well, especially since the fish has breading on it. And like I said, remoulade is so much easier to make than it. And usually, I don't know about you guys, but I have all the ingredients in my refrigerator for the most part. Maybe without the green onions or capers, but they're an easy find at any grocery store. And it just tastes way better than tartar sauce because I feel like when you buy tartar sauce from the store, they add too much sugar to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's an American problem, is that we want to add sugar to everything. And not only is it unhealthy, but you just don't need it.
So that was our timer for the eggs.
So I have my bowl of ice, and I'm going to fill it up with water.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have a bowl full of water, and I'm going to bring back the pot. And again, with my slotted spoon, I'm going to very carefully take the eggs out and submerge them in the ice bath.
Nice.
And this is going to be really interesting because, again, these are local eggs. So I don't want you guys to worry if they have scars and indentations in the whites, because it's totally normal.
And the fresher and the newer the egg, the more that they have that connection to the shell. So
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of my egg pot.
and we get deliveries every 3 days, and we run through them so fast. Our local eggs are some of the cheapest in town. We actually, during the whole egg crisis, we were the only one that had $4.99 eggs, and that was the Moore Family Farm egg. So
another reason to support local, because you know where your food's coming from. They don't usually have recalls, national recalls on them. And you can see where your food is being raised or grown. So it's a huge asset to support local if you can afford it. Now I know, and I won't get into this conversation too much, but the way the country has made food so cheap, it makes it seem like local food is really expensive. But it's just, you can cook with it even on a budget. So not everything in your meal has to be local. You can substitute out products from the grocery store while still supporting your local farmers. So say you wanted to get fresh tilapia, but you can't afford, like maybe the eggs or whatever to go with it. That's fine. Nobody's judging you.
right, totally.
So everything is a nice balance. Okay. So now we're going to start working on these deviled eggs. I'm going to see if this is hot. Oh, great thing about induction is that it cools off right away. So you kind of want to move your eggs around a little bit in this ice bath. They're going to cool off a lot faster. And while they're being mixed around, I'm going to set up a tray to start my deviled eggs. So I don't know if you know this, but I got this really cool plastic tray at Meijer, I think, and it's 4 deviled eggs. So you can cut open your deviled eggs and place the whites in this little tray, and your deviled eggs don't slide around, which I love. It's one of my favorite kitchen utensils.
So cute. You must make deviled eggs kind of often.
Well,
I feel like I have never made them.
really?
Yes, I mean, I love them, but I've never made them.
Oh my gosh, they're so easy to make, and they don't take a lot of time. So, and when you get invited to a summer party, everybody loves deviled eggs.
Yeah.
unless you're a vegan.
Has anybody else made deviled eggs before? And let me know. I needed to check if we have a Ziploc baggie.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like I do.
So, if you guys have parchment paper at home, I would line this with parchment paper. I'm gonna line it with some saran. Do we have parchment paper?
Yeah, let's take a
Okay.
look. Maybe we've got some.
Just don't use aluminum foil because I feel like the metally part or the taste of the foil will get into your deviled eggs and it just doesn't mix well.
Here we
Oh,
go. We got
awesome.
some.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes here in the kitchen.
Thank goodness for Sarah. She makes cooking easy, and I highly recommend you guys having Sarah over to your house to make dinner because she will get everything ready, and then all you have to do is show up and cook.
You got it. You got it.
I think I'm exploiting you now, Sarah.
No, I'm here for it.
So I'm going to fold my parchment a little bit just so that it fits on the tray a little bit better.
Marion says, yes, often make eggs. Awesome.
Yay. Okay. Well, I hope that this tried and true recipe works for you because it's really, you get a really perfect egg out of it.
Oh, so you folded the parchment paper here into that sheet so perfectly.
Oh, thank you. It was beat into me during my time in French Brigade kitchens.
So why do they call it brigade?
So it's because it is like kind of like the military actually, where they tear you down and build you back up under their systems. The root of culinary is French. So you know, a lot of culinary terms are French. A lot of the traditional sauces are French, like a beurre blanc, which is a white wine butter sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say French Brigade kitchens, I mean everybody is very clean, wearing a white chef coat. We actually clean the kitchen 3 times in one service.
Wow.
Everything is covered with white tablecloths for service, and everything has to be perfect. Even if you put a label on an ingredient, the edges have to be squarely cut, and it's in blue tape, and it has to be written clearly. So it's actually the strive to perfection to make the perfect dish. So that's where it came from.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, with COVID and the recession in 2008, people are kind of moving away from fine dining food. And especially after the Me Too movement, you know, there was a lot of brutality in those kinds of kitchens because there was a lot of people ready to take your place or to come and do an internship and then eventually take your place. So it was very intense.
Yeah, and like cutthroat.
Yeah. And I think after all these things started to happen in our country, it just became kind of a unnecessary cuisine that people couldn't afford anymore, really. And so casual cooking, I think, is making its way back, especially farm to table and especially scratch cooking in institutional kitchens, which is where we need change the most. So schools, hospitals, nursing homes, definitely needs a makeover in their food system. And it's slowly starting to happen, which is really cool. Awesome. And that's kind of part of making good food accessible for everybody. And again, it doesn't have to be local, just make it fresh so that we're eating whole foods again and not processed foods. So I'm going to add another little liquid and you can dribble. So you can see I'm out of vegetable stock and my wheat berries aren't cooked yet. So I'm going to fill actually this container up so that I can get the rest of the vegetable stock into my wheat berries.
Well, Dan, it's so nice to have your experience with all of the kind of technical sides of things and the connection to the local farms. And, you know, I feel like the high-end restaurants, they have all of these amazing techniques and cooking methods that don't always, you know, outside of maybe a cooking book or, you know, I used to watch different PBS cooking shows.
Oh, I love PBS.
You know,
that's a PBS.
But yeah, I think it's so great to have you and all like our different home cooks teaching recipes that have just been really passed down, and that, you know, it's really nice to have kind of someone to guide you through recipes that they already know are really well developed and really tasty. And so
Yeah.
what makes me like this part of the cooking classes so much. It's like, people's favorite recipes, being taught.
Which is really important because a lot of times, traditionally, if somebody has a family recipe, they hold on to it pretty tightly, and sometimes they're unwilling to share.
Yeah.
So I have a friend I work with, and I was trained as a Southern chef, and my friend's mother makes the best braised collard greens I've ever had. And I spent a lot of my career making collard greens with that pot liquor sauce we were
Yes.
talking about, and I've just never had any that taste like these. And I've asked for the recipe so many times, and she refuses to give me the recipe. So, but I feel very fortunate when my friend Kermaine brings some in for me. Okay, so our eggs have been sitting for a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to do the peeling process. So
I think we might not need the close-up.
good luck to everybody on this peeling process. Again, don't worry if you can't get the shell off and there's a big tear in the white. We're worried about flavor. We're not worried about looks, okay? So I'm going to take one of my eggs and I'm just going to tap it and roll it around on the counter. Maybe you can see this. I'm just rolling it around on the counter, and I'm not pushing down very hard because I don't want to smash the egg. I'm just trying to get the shell so that it peels okay. And so now it looks like this one's peeling pretty good. I'm just very careful to use the side of my thumb to peel the egg so that I'm not using my finger top to kind of dig into it. And it looks like the baking soda is helping.
What?
Sarah, this is crazy.
That is crazy because I make hard-boiled eggs all the time.
Look at
And
this
look
egg.
at that. That couldn't be perfect. All right. Let us know how you guys do.
And I do dip this either back in the water or I run it under the sink.
Just to get rid of that.
Yeah, I'm very careful about texture in my mouth. So I don't want to have that shell texture in my mouth.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beautiful looking local egg and I'm going to put it on my cutting board. And I'm actually going to move over here so
Yeah.
everything's a little bit better.
Sure.
Okay. So I've got another mixing bowl ready, and this is going to be for the yolk. Okay. So after I clean one of my eggs, I'm probably going to clean the rest, but I just want to show you what we're going to do. And I'm going to wipe my knife off with a sanitized towel. And then you can actually either cut it in half, which are kind of interesting ways to do deviled eggs, or you can cut it down the middle like this. I prefer to cut it down the middle. And if you look inside your egg, that's pretty much a perfect boiled egg.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that it's very yellow and bright on the inside. There's no green rings around it.
No green ring.
There's no uncooked parts in the middle. And that's why I like the recipe where it's 10 minutes, drop in boiling water, 10 minutes, take it off the boiling water, but let them sit, and then put them in an ice bath, and it's never failed me. So I'm going to carefully take out these yolks, and I'm going to line my eggs up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and peel the rest, and we'll see if they're all like that or if I just got lucky.
Yeah, I can help.
You want to help me?
Moment of truth.
Moment of truth, Sarah. Okay, so this one isn't as beautiful as the other one, but it's still peeling really well.
It's doing good, Ann.
Oh my gosh. So this is kind
That's
of,
like just feel like natural or something.
yeah. So this is kind of the stuff we were talking about with local eggs, the bumps and indentations. That's totally okay. So I'm going to wash the rest of the shell off.
I'm really impressed by this baking soda
Right?
method because I don't normally do the baking soda.
Uh-huh.
And I get just like all of the egg white just sticks to the egg, to the shell.
Baking soda. I actually did a little research on the internet, and so I'm not going to take credit for that, but it did say a couple different methods, and it looks like the baking soda is the way to go. Again, look at this beautiful egg, Sarah.
That is stunning.
This is crazy. I've never made local deviled eggs and had them turn out so beautiful. So the baking soda method is going to be my
It's
new
the respect we have for local food
method. It's the respect.
shining through.
Yeah. You can't bullshit a bullshitter, Sarah. Okay.
Oh. how's everybody else's eggs? You're probably midway through peeling them, so you don't want to type on your computer, but let us know.
All right, another good looking local egg.
I think
And
these have
again,
been
if they're
perfect.
not perfect, who cares?
Right.
Because the flavor is what we're looking for.
You know, maybe without Ann, mine would have been looking like Scraggletooth.
Well, not anymore, now that I told you the secret,
No, you told
Kara.
us the secret. Forever changed.
Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe the rest of these shells into my compost container.
Okay.
And I'm gonna clean up this area just for a second.
Sounds good.
All right, so now that we've got the eggs peeled, I'm gonna cut them in half. And again, scoop out the yolks just with your finger gently.
So you were saying that people can cut them like
Yeah, and I'll actually show.
horizontally?
Yeah, I'll give you a demonstration.
And it still works because the top is so
Yeah.
much chunkier?
So it's kind of like a fatter, taller look to your deviled eggs. But and sometimes when you go to fancy restaurants, they'll do this just because they think it's different and cool. I find nothing wrong with the regular method. If you do it this way, you kind of have to cut a little bit of the top off the egg so that it sits like that.
Gotcha.
So this is what it looks like. And it's just kind of a more unique looking deviled egg.
Okay.
But for our purposes today, we'll just do it the regular way. And you can see that yolk just pops out and it leaves a really deep cavity to be able to put the egg in. So again, do it how you're comfortable.
Interesting.
But on the bottom, this is more of a shallow cavity. So one of the reasons I don't like doing deviled eggs this way is because you get more of the white than the yolk, unless you do it this way, and then there's like equal amounts.
Yeah. And I like the whole off-center look to it.
Yeah, I do too. It looks like an egg.
Yeah.
So in between cutting our local eggs, I'm going to actually sanitize my knife because when you cut the eggs, you get yolk on the eggs and it makes the white messy.
Mm.
And so we don't want we don't want yellow yolk on the white part of our eggs.
Nice.
So how did everybody's eggs turn out? Are they done yet? Any comments? Okay, everybody's busy cooking. That's good. All right, so I'm going to sanitize my knife again to get that yolk off. And then I'm going to cut it. Then I'm going to sanitize my knife again and cut it one more time. All right, so if you guys will check your wheat berries, now they're turning into this beautiful dark color and they're starting to get nice and plump.
Mhm.
Again, wheat berries take a long time to cook, so just kind of keep an eye on them, but forget them a little bit.
Yeah, look at how dark.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
okay. So I'm getting the yolk out, finishing these up. I can already tell these are going to be eaten in like a half an hour after
Yeah.
we finish this cooking class.
I know. And sometimes the poor front of house team, they get they constantly get all the good smells. And so sometimes they'll just be like knocking on the window
I've
of the
been
door.
seeing them walk by slowly, looking in with drool
Yes,
coming out of
yes.
their mouths.
Yes, there was some kids earlier after the market when we were first starting. They were waving and curious about what was going on in here.
We should have invited them in. All right, so I've got these in a mixing bowl right now. This mixing bowl is a little bit too big. So I'm gonna actually transfer it to a smaller bowl.
Yeah, and we've got some smaller bowls
I
down
think
here.
I got one right here.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh, let me use this one so that they can see the color. So the reason you don't want a large mixing bowl is because you want everything to kind of mix in together. And if it has too much surface space on the bottom, it'll just kind of spread out and it just isn't as easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take a new spatula. And I'm just going to dish these into a smaller bowl.
Eggs are good.
They're good?
Great. Awesome, Marion.
Yay! All right. So I want to make sure I get all of my whites in here. Okay,
And then do you use a fork or what do you usually do?
that's what I was gonna tell you, is that
Nice.
my secret is a fork. So if you use a whisk, too much of the egg yolk will get into the whisk and you're constantly gonna have to get it out.
Yeah.
But if you use a fork, this is a really great way to mash it up and incorporate all the ingredients.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna start by mashing up my yolks.
If you've ever had the Little Farm on the Prairie eggs, those are also
Are
a great
so
one.
good.
And they feed their chickens marigolds, marigold flowers. So the pigment of the yolk is just so dark.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
That's another thing about local meat and product is that you can ask the farmer exactly what they're feeding their pigs or their beef or their chickens. And usually what they feed them is the flavor that makes the flavor of the meat.
Mhm.
So when I was in South Carolina and we were raising pigs, they were feeding them milk and nuts and berries. And so that's what the meat tasted like. And it was really good.
We have a couple, so we compost here at the co-op, like all of our produce and kitchen and all that, but any milk that goes bad or is expired out of date, we have farmers that come pick it up, and a few of them have pigs, and the pigs love the yogurt. They like
Yeah.
it's their favorite. And so it's a delicacy. There's a few things, we'll get maybe a case that's expired, and so the pigs will just get to have a little dessert.
Ironically enough, I have two pet pigs that were on my teaching farm. As a chef, I was very conflicted because one was Berkshire, which is really good meat, and the other one was a Hereford. So their names are Jude and Freebie. And pigs are incredibly smart animals. So they have the mentality of about a 3 or 4-year-old child. So
Wow.
they were potty trained. They could sit for treats. They could, they would even let me come into the pen with them, and I would take a paint marker and draw the different cuts of meats on the side of their bodies for the children so that they could identify
God.
food with the animals and have that connection. And we fed our pigs food scraps from the company that we were using, and they loved it. The sweet, they're just like children. The more sugar content there was in the vegetable, the more they loved it. So they were really excited about watermelon and cantaloupe season.
Oh yeah. As am I.
Yeah.
It's this inside joke now with all of the people in the marketing team here, where it's like I'm just obsessed with watermelon this last couple.
So good.
It's just I can't not eat the local watermelon we have here.
I just made a watermelon dish with some local peaches and raspberries, and I added olives and feta cheese from
Wow.
Prairie Fruits Farms.
Oh.
And a little bit of mint and basil, and it was so good. And then I ate it with Central Illinois Bakehouse crackers, artisan crackers.
Yes.
And that was really good. Okay, so kind of like the salt, I'm going to add mayonnaise a little bit at a time. And I'm going to actually lick this off my finger. Because I love Dukes.
Has anybody cooked with Duke's mayo before?
It has a really wonderful sour flavor to it that shows through in the food.
What was the tagline? It's like something about the twang. It's got the twang.
It does have the twang.
I don't know if that means like the southern twang or
Probably,
the
I don't know.
The tang.
It could mean a bunch of different
All the things.
So just a reminder, make sure your oven's preheated because we're getting close to breading and cooking the fish. And that will only take about 12 minutes. So it'll be really fast.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll give time for our wheat berries to cool down. And we will can put that salad together last, right before we're ready to eat. So this is pretty good. Unless you have a food processor at home, it's going to be just a slightly lumpy. You're welcome to put this in a food processor to get it very smooth. But again, if you don't have that piece of equipment at home, the fork is fine too. Okay, so I'm actually going to add the rest of the mayonnaise. And you want this mixture to be a little bit loose, but not super loose, because you want it to stand up in the egg. But I just love this Duke's mayonnaise, so I'm gonna put as much of it in as I can. Okay. Let me rinse this out.
And then you haven't added any salts or anything like that, right?
No, I haven't added any seasoning, so no sumac, no salt,
yeah, right,
no
right.
nothing, okay? And I'm gonna wait until all of this is mixed in before I add my seasoning. Because again, less is more. You can always add more, but you can't take out. And I'm always nervous when I make deviled eggs that I run out of filling before I fill all the eggs.
Yeah,
I don't know,
right?
It's like
I
a
know.
fear of mine.
So the first one is like half full.
Yeah. So you can see this is loose.
It's not as lumpy. Like it's really starting
Yeah,
to incorporate.
the
It's
fork does
creamy.
a really good job. Okay. Now I'm going to add my seasoning. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Again, this is still my 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'm going to add a pinch for the egg mixture. And then I'm going to add a pinch of my sumac. So everybody got a 1/4 teaspoon of sumac. I'm going to add that in. And actually, I'm just going to add this whole thing in here because I love sumac and I really don't think you can have enough of it.
Great.
And that's a huge thanks to my friend Garen Sanchez with Martinelli's Bakery. I don't know if you've ever had their chicken salad, but they put sumac in it. And now I'm absolutely obsessed.
I was just we were doing a little celebratory dinner this last weekend, and if anybody has not been to Capre, that's the new farm to table restaurant at Prairie Foods Farm and Creamery, just a little north on 74 on Lincoln. And they have like a whole tasting menu. So if you really want to get fancy and you could do like the 5-course dinner, you can do that. And then it was delicious. They also have like all of the pieces that they have on the 5-course meal as individual items on their menu, and then a bunch of other options and hyper local.
And the great thing about Capre too is not only Garen a fabulous chef, but also they have everyday menus. So it doesn't have to be super fancy. Like they have Taco Tuesday. So you can go out and have a taco and their tacos are fire. I was just out there Tuesday meeting a chef friend of mine and I had the taco and it was so good.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, Sarah, you ready to taste this?
Yes, let's get some spoons out, everybody.
So we've got a pinch of salt in here and an entire container of sumac. And the sumac is a little bit citrusy, so it just kind of adds a dynamic flavor. And you can put it in any salads, egg salad, tuna salad, chicken salad. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'm not going to add any more salt. I think the salt level is fine.
Great.
Let
us know where you're at.
And then I could scoop it in, but because I'm a trained chef, I'm going to pipe it in with a Ziploc bag.
Sounds great. So just a Ziploc and then pick one corner.
Yeah, it's really easy to do. And it kind of elevates the look of your, do you want to eat that?
Yeah.
And it kind of elevates the look, excuse me, of your deviled eggs, especially if you're not eating them at home and you want to take them to a party. They're very fast to make. Usually everybody has eggs and mayonnaise, and you can find sumac at your local grocery store in the spice section.
And we have it in our bulk section. So if you want just a little bit, you don't have to buy a whole container, or you can buy you can buy a pound of it.
Yeah. And put it in literally everything.
You could buy, yeah. Our wheatberries are doing really well. They're getting nice and caramely, dark, kind of brown sugar color.
Your wheatberries should be pretty plump by now. Sorry, Sarah.
No, you're fine.
And
you need water?
No, I'm good, thanks. This is a point where you would start to taste them.
Okay.
So we've added liquid like what, 4 or 5 times?
Yeah.
And kept them reduced at a little bit of a high simmer. And so what I'm going to do with this is I've got my bag sealed with the egg yolk mixture in it. And I'm just going to cut a little tip off the edge.
Okay.
Make sure you get rid of this so it doesn't go into your food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to try this? Or
yeah, let's try it. Thank you.
Emily, I'll get you a little. Thanks for doing the video over there.
It should be al dente. They shouldn't have a crispy crunch to them, okay? Mm,
They're almost there.
yeah, I would say they're almost there. I'm gonna leave them on to reduce some of this liquid to get the liquid out, but I'm not adding any more liquid.
And the
So-
flavor's good.
Yeah, they have an al dente bite to them. They've soaked up the garlic, onions, and vegetable stock.
Mm.
So I'm gonna let this liquid reduce down, and then I'm gonna put it on a sheet tray and put it in the cooler to cool it down. Okay, now, next, I'm going to pipe the mixture into my egg yolks. And you can see I just cut off the tip. There's not a huge opening here. If you have trouble piping it out, it could be because your tip isn't big enough, the part you cut off, or it could be because you have a lump in there, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
So cut the tip just a little more and it'll make it easier to pipe.
And then any recommendations on piping?
Yep, so I hold it in the middle and I don't move my bag at all. And I just do an even squeeze.
Nice.
And I have this big fear of running out of filling. So I try to fill them up just until they come to the top of the cavity. And then if I have some left, I'll go back and add more.
Yeah.
And then the other great thing about using a Ziploc bag to pipe these in is that you can really get the most out of your yolk.
Looks perfect.
Aww. And you can garnish this. There's lots of microgreens that are available at the farmer's market right now. I just got some wonderful leeks from Diamond's Farmstead last week. So feel free to garnish this with some microgreens. You can garnish this with green onions. You can garnish it with chives. I've actually garnished it with little lardons with bacon before.
Oh.
Okay, so now that these are finished, this is what they're gonna look like.
Gorgeous.
And we're gonna put them in the fridge while we do some more cooking.
And not be tempted to eat all
Just
12 of them.
Sarah. Stay away, Sarah. Stay away.
I know.
Okay. If you haven't pulled out your fish yet, go ahead and pull it out and stick it on the counter. It might still be a little bit frozen. If it is, go ahead and run it under some cool water. Just a drizzle of cool water running over top of the package. And that's a great way to quickly thaw meat, fish, and whatever else. So I'm going to put this fish on the counter and let it sit out for just a minute while I make my blueberry vinaigrette. That's the next step. So
I've been excited about this. So this wheatberry dish was what inspired this class, because you made this epic wheatberry blueberry salad.
yeah.
And so then from there we were like, okay, let's do as much local as possible. So
Well,
it was easy to do.
I was doing a catering for some farmer friends at the U of I, and there's no higher stress than cooking for the farmers using their product. You want it to taste good and you want to make sure you do them justice. So I needed a filler dish and I decided to make the wheat berries, and I had some blueberries in my fridge. And so I just dumped them into a blender and made a really quick blueberry vinaigrette. I added a little blueberries and mint into the cooked wheat berries. And then I topped it with goat cheese. And that was actually the favorite of all the things that I made with the farmers. So the blueberry vinaigrette is a little bit sweet and the goat cheese is a little bit sour. And so it kind of matches up flavors and rounds everything out.
And like
Okay.
the wheat berries have like that kind of umami.
Yeah.
So you got them all. And then
That's
the
another
mint,
thing.
right? There's gonna be mint in there.
Yeah. That's another thing, is that instead of vegetable stock, you can use umami to flavor things. It's still vegetarian and it has more of a robust flavor than vegetable stock. I actually like it a lot more than vegetable stock because vegetable stock just tasted like the vegetables that you made it with.
Wait, so umami is both
That-
tasting note and is it
Yeah.
seaweed or what is it?
Yeah, so it's seaweed
Okay.
and it's really good. It adds a lot of flavor and uniqueness to your dishes. Dashi is really good. Have you ever had dashi? Yeah, it's really good. We have this wonderful grocery store that just opened up down the street from the co-op called H Mart. And it is a fish lover's dream.
It is crazy. I went there for the first time, but actually only a few weeks ago. And it is so interesting. Also, the produce is super unique too. If you
beautiful.
ever are curious about really fruit that would definitely not grow here,
Yeah.
looking for the really tropical fruits, definitely check it out.
It has a beautiful produce section, but I have to tell you, I spent a half an hour just perusing the fish section because I was
Yes.
so obsessed. And then I ended up buying 2 snapper fillets. And it was very, very inexpensive. And the fish was meaty. It was really nice. And people who love seafood, it's such a wonderful resource to have. And I know that local restaurants are also using it to get seafood.
Cool.
Okay, so my wheat berries have reduced. You can see there's still a little bit of liquid at the bottom. I'm going to strain off a little bit of that liquid just because I want the wheat berries to cool down really quickly. And if you have that hot liquid incorporated with the wheat berries, it'll take longer to cool down. So I'm going to get a little mini sheet tray, or you can get a casserole dish. What you're looking for is something long that will allow the wheat berries to spread out, because the flatter they are and the thinner the layer, the quicker they'll cool off. So I'm going to drain this wonderful liquid into a dish, and I'm not going to drain all of it out, just a little bit. And you can save this liquid for a sauce or stock, or you can just toss it.
Look at how
Okay.
beautiful.
So you can see why we started with the wheat berries first, because they kind of take a long time.
But you can make like a big batch of them and then have them through the week, or
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're so versatile. There's so much you can do with them.
and they last a long time. Like, you can have them and they still taste good, 3 days after.
Even up to a week. I've had them in my fridge for a week,
Great.
and they were just fine. Especially the more liquid you get out of them. So see how I'm kind of spreading this out on the sheet tray? Again, the thinner the layer, the faster it'll cool off. How does everybody's wheat berries look? Are they al dente but not breaking your teeth? That's what you're looking for. And this is the same thing you would do to risotto. If you were cooking risotto, you would lay it out on a sheet tray, especially if you weren't finishing right away.
Really?
Yeah, so if you're not finishing it right away, you can cook it ahead of time. And then if you want to make risotto like the next day, your risotto's already cooked, and all you have to do is add your ingredients to it.
Like the cream and stuff like that? Or
Everything is cooked. Yep. You add the cream to it, you lay it out on a sheet tray, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create lines like this. And this allows it to breathe. And again, this will help it cool down a lot faster.
Wow.
Okay. So that's what my wheat berries look like.
Love it. Love the lines. That's a really good idea.
Thanks. I'm going to
Actually,
put this
share
in
that
the
with our
fridge.
kitchen upstairs.
Yeah, so you can pre-cook all this, and it takes down a lot of cooking time the day of your event. Okay, sorry, eggs, you're going to be moved. All right, so I'm going to put this as close to the blower, the condenser on the fridge as possible, because we want them to really cool down.
That's good.
So let me clean up some dishes. How's everybody doing? Is everybody at this point? Your eggs are done, your wheat berries are done, your fish is sitting out.
We're doing pretty good. We got about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe in about 10, we can take the ice cream out of the freezer just to let it. How long do you think ice cream needs to sit? I mean,
maybe like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, your kitchen's warm anyway if you're cooking, so 5 minutes. Okay, so we're kind of running out of time. So I'm going to start making the blueberry vinaigrette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the blueberries first.
And we're doing a blender?
Yep, and I'm going to put it in a blender. You want the blueberry vinaigrette to be a little bit smooth because you're going to add whole blueberries to the final dish anyway.
One of these is actually a plug, so we can move the
great.
blender over if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
There we go.
Whoa.
Sure the surface isn't hot. We're good. Okay.
Perfect. And so we're gonna have some blueberries whole for the wheat berries. Is that what you just said? And some for the,
Yeah, and we want to
Dressing.
save some for the ice cream too. So I'm gonna take probably, I will measure this out just for you guys who are cooking at home.
and one thing worth noting, I forgot to mention, is we didn't have the champagne vinegar, but we did a white wine vinegar. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a great substitute. Champagne vinegar I like because it's a little bit sweet, so you have to add less natural sweetener. And again, I don't really like sugar. Sugar is acidic. It has a strong bite to it.
Mhm.
So if I'm ever making sauces or dressings that I need to sweeten, I'll either use agave nectar, which is my #1 go-to, or I'll use local honey.
Mhm.
Have these been rinsed?
Yeah.
Okay, so these have been rinsed. This is a 1/2 cup measuring cup.
That's actually a 1 cup.
Okay, so 1 cup measuring cup. I'm going to fill it up about, let's do 1 cup. Yeah. So I'm gonna fill it up to the top and then I'm gonna pour it into my blender, okay? And next I'm gonna add the vinegar. And again, you won't use this whole 1/2 cup. But I like having extra just in case when you're tasting the end, it does need an extra bit of acid.
If they didn't have a blender or food processor, they would just have to like kind of mash up the
Yeah.
blueberries, maybe with a fork again, and then add
Yep.
the dressing stuff.
So you would mash it up with a fork, but then you would want to whisk it because we're going to emulsify olive oil into this.
Mm.
And that's a kind of a very tricky process if you've never done it before. So I'm going to add about half the vinegar that you guys received. And then I'm going to add a pinch of salt. And notice I haven't touched the honey, I haven't touched the herbs, and I haven't touched the goat cheese yet. That's going to be a finisher for our wheat berries.
Okay.
So I've added just another little pinch of salt. And then I'm going to start blending this.
Okay. And this has a weird little,
Like this.
yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay. Ninjas are really great blenders. I have a Vitamix and it constantly burns out and I have to put it in the freezer all the time.
Really?
So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
rough.
So I do like Ninjas better than Vitamixes.
Well, yeah, we just got this one, and we looked for like things that have high horsepower, and
Oh,
the only thing that's annoying about it is that the top, you have to align the top with
oh
the
yeah.
side. Anyway,
Okay, so I'm gonna start mixing this up on high speed. Please turn it on for me, Sarah.
here you go. Awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna mix it up on high speed. So what I'm doing is I'm really mixing my blueberries in. So I've got vinegar, salt, and blueberries in there now. I'm gonna turn this on to medium speed and I'm gonna slowly start adding my olive oil. We don't want to add it on at once because the oil will separate from the base and then it'll be really oily.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to save a little bit of oil left because we want to oil the top of our fish before it goes in the oven. Okay.
I just was tasting the dressing that was coming out the.
Sorry,
I
Sarah.
know, I loved it. That color though, it's gorgeous.
So the color is really beautiful. And you can see once you add the olive oil, it becomes really thick. So the next thing I'm going to add is my seasoning. And honey or whatever sweetener you use is part of your seasoning. And so this is the part where you want to taste and add a little bit and taste and add a little bit more.
Okay,
So we are going to taste it.
but still in the blender.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna taste it, and right now it should be pretty vinegary because I haven't added any honey. But I want you to know what you're looking for, so taste it before you add your sweetness.
Okay.
And then add your seasoning to it and your sweetness, and then taste it again, because then you'll know what you're looking for and you can kind of train yourself. And I'm gonna use the back of my spoon just to kind of, I am gonna add all of this because the goat cheese is sour. The wheat berries are really earthy. So it's okay if this vinaigrette is a little bit on the sweeter side because it'll balance everything out. How are we doing on time? Are we okay?
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes, so we might go a little over, but that's okay.
Okay, I'll try to hurry. All right, so I added all my honey, and now I'm gonna add my salt.
Mm-hmm. How much salt?
I'm just gonna add another little pinch. Again, don't add too much salt because the wheat berries and the goat cheese are gonna have salt in them too.
Yeah.
And so I would just add it to taste, and we can always add more.
Great.
Okay, so now I'm gonna blend it again now that I've added my seasoning. If you're doing this by hand, you might have to go a little bit slower adding the olive oil just to make sure it emulsifies properly.
Mhm.
And if it breaks, don't worry, you're still gonna have the flavor in it and you can toss it in the wheat berries anyway. Okay.
It's great to have blueberries in a dressing because I've made like a lot of, blueberry smoothies and things like that. And if you ever had like blueberry smoothie, like hours after you made it, the pectin in the blueberries makes it kind of thick and jelly-like.
Yeah.
So it makes it kind of extra thick. So not having to put like the mustard or other things like that to make it
Carrots make it
thicker.
hold it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
Okay, so we're gonna get some more spoons. Now, if you're making this for yourself, you can use the same spoon to taste things over and over again. But since other people are going to be eating this, we're using different spoons to taste so we don't get our germs in the food. Okay, so now we're going to taste it again after we've added our seasoning. So it's a little bit acidic still. If I had extra honey, I would add a little bit of honey to it. So if you guys have honey in your house or agave nectar or even just a little bit of sugar, go ahead and add just a large squirt. And that's good. It would probably be like another tablespoon. Okay, now we're gonna mix this up again. I'm just gonna add one more to make sure. I did taste the salt, so if you're able to taste the salt and it's not too salty, I would stop there because you don't want a lot of salt in it.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're gonna blend this again. And honey is a seasoning agent, just like sugar is a seasoning agent, just like salt is a seasoning agent. So that's how you balance your food while you cook. You want to make sure it's sweet, salty, earthy, sour, and that gives it the perfect balance. Okay, you ready to taste again?
Love it.
Okay, so here we're going to taste again, and now we want to taste a little less acid and a little more sweetness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to add just a little more honey, and then we'll move on to the fish. And I apologize, this is taking so long, you guys.
Okay. Oh, good.
So all in all, I ended up adding about a 1/4 cup of honey. And I'd rather it be on the sweet side than the vinegary side.
Yeah, we got someone that's coming to pick their kid up.
Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna taste it again and I'm looking for that honey flavor. Oh yeah. So no longer do I get that bite at the back of my mouth.
Emily, they'll just need the ice cream.
And instead I get the first flavor of sweetness. Okay, I'm gonna put our blueberries back here,
That's delicious.
put the honey away.
Emily, actually, we need to get the ice cream anyway for ours. So if you wouldn't mind grabbing her ice cream and our ice cream. Oh, thanks.
Okay, guys, so our vinaigrette is ready. I'm gonna power this off. And I'm gonna put this over here with the rest of my mise en place for our wheatberry salad.
Perfect.
Now it's time to do the fish, finally. Okay, this won't take very long. I need a couple mixing bowls, so I'm gonna grab those real quick.
Oh, great.
So, and then I'm just gonna clean my space one more time and
That's good. And I can get this out of the way.
yeah. Just so I make sure I'm working on a clean space, I can get this out of the way. Yeah, thank you. And then I'm going to get rid of my recipe cards and turn to the tilapia breading recipe because this is what we're going to do next, okay? So your oven is on. You have a sheet tray that's lined with foil. And you're going to need 2 mixing bowls, okay? One for the liquid and one for the breadcrumbs. So I'm setting up my station in order where this is going to be the final place of the tilapia.
Nice. I like your organization, Ann.
It was beaten into me. Okay, so you have our fish right here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to follow the recipe. Let me get there with you guys. So again, this tilapia is from Koss Family Farms. We're going to get it out and put it in on our cutting board. And we're going to make sure it's patted dry because we want this fish to be incorporated with our sour cream, our loosened sour cream, and Old Bay seasoning.
We gave you 2.5 fillets, so we had an extra fillet, and so we're like, you know what, let's just chop it up and make sure everybody gets the most out of it.
And I can't tell you how good this fish is. I love eating it. It's easy to cook. It's thin. It's a flat fish, so you can actually I don't think it is a flat fish, but the fillets are flat and it cooks very, very quickly. And so it takes no time at all to prepare this. So instead of seasoning my fish, I'm actually going to season my ingredients in the mixing bowl, okay? So I'm going to take my sour cream and I'm going to put all of my sour cream in the mixing bowl.
Okay.
And I think I've used every spatula in the house. So I'm going to sanitize this one real quick and we'll get going. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to scoop my sour cream mixture into the first mixing bowl. Now, this is pretty thick to be able to cover the tilapia. So I'm going to thin it out with just a little bit of water.
Hey.
And I'm going to get my measuring cup. Okay. And so I've got just a little bit of water. It's not an exact amount of water. So you really just want this to be loose enough that it coats the fish. So again, I'm just going to add a little bit at a time until the sour cream mixture is a little bit loose.
Maybe like a 1/4 cup.
Yeah. And if it's chunky like that, go ahead and don't be scared to grab a whisk.
Okay, I'll get you one.
Thank you. You guys all need an assistant like Sarah. All right. So I'm going to whisk this mixture together. So this is about what we're looking for. It's loose enough to coat the fish. And anytime you're breading something, I like sour cream instead of milk because, again, it has that sour flavor that I really, really love.
Oh, it's so frothy.
Yeah. And then I'm going to actually add my Old Bay seasoning into the sour cream mixture. I would say about half. And then save the half for the breadcrumb mixture. Okay, I'm going to mix that in. All right, so this is ready to go. And you can see it smells so good. Old Bay, I love Old Bay seasoning,
Mhm.
especially if you're having a fish fry or whatever. It's good. How is it, Sarah?
Delish.
Okay. So you've got your breadcrumbs. I'm going to dump my breadcrumbs into a bowl. And then I'm going to add my cornstarch. And I like using cornstarch when you're breading things because it really helps stick to the fish. I don't like breading that falls off after you cook it. So I'm going to mix this up just with my hands. Mix it up like that. Since you guys got 2.5 fillets, you might want to add a little flour if you don't think you have enough breadcrumbs.
We didn't give you flour, but if you have any flour, you can.
If not, don't worry about it. Bake it anyway. And then I'm going to add the rest of my Old Bay seasoning.
Nice.
Okay. And
Did you add salt yet?
not yet. Good
Cool.
question, Sarah.
Nice.
And then finally, I'm going to add a little bit of my salt. And once again, I just did a big pinch.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to start breading this. And notice I didn't season my fish because this has so much seasoning in it.
Great.
And I really think these breadcrumbs will be, it'll be enough for 2.5 fillets. And if not, you'll just be eating healthier because baked fish is super healthy. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of my whisk. And then the key to breading things is that you want one wet hand and one dry hand.
Okay.
Because if you use the wet hand in the breadcrumbs, then all the breadcrumbs are going to stick to your hand and not the fish.
Yes, that's happened.
Yeah.
And then you're
And then
dredged.
and then your breadcrumbs get really clumpy and they're not good anymore.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my fillets in and I'm going to move the bowl around to make sure they're completely covered. Now my left hand is going to be my wet hand. And so you can see that the fish
Wow.
is completely coated in that sour flavor with Old Bay.
Great.
And then I'm just going to drop it in my bread bowl. And I'm going to shake it around. And then I'm going to use my dry hand to pick it out. If it didn't get all the way on top, that's okay.
That's so
And then I'm
good.
going to lay it out on my sheet tray, just like that. Okay. So you can see how you have a wet station, a dry station, and then a finishing station. And then I'm just going to do the same thing with the next fillet.
I love how frothy that.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah.
You going to drink it?
No. Not with the fish, but maybe I would have. I do love my sour cream.
I should have had you tasted it before the fish. Okay, so my breadcrumbs are still holding strong. So I think you guys have plenty of breadcrumbs without adding flour to it.
Yeah.
Once again, it only coats a little bit. So I'm going to take my dry hand and flip it over and just make sure both sides are really coated.
Great.
Okay, and then I'm going to take my dry hand again and I'm going to lay it out on the sheet tray. And then we got our little half here. We're going to do the same thing with our little half. Okay. And then we got our breadcrumbs that we're going to drop in here. Now you can see that part of the tilapia is really thick and part of the tilapia is really flat and thin.
Mhm.
So one side is going to cook faster than the other side.
Right.
So if you're worried about that, you can actually slice your tilapia in half right here and pull this out first.
Mm.
But I'm not really worried about it because it'll just be flaky and
Yeah.
delicious.
Right.
Okay, so my dry hand, I'm taking this out. Everything's fully coated, looking good.
Gorgeous.
And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick.
And then do you want this to go in the oven?
Hold on, not yet.
Ooh.
But I like where your head's at, Sarah. So I'm going to get the breadcrumbs off my hands. And then before I put it in the oven, we want these breadcrumbs to be able to brown.
All right.
So I'm going to take a spoon
Okay.
with the rest of my olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle olive oil on top of the fish. And I'm not going to really drench it in the olive oil because I don't want it to be super greasy. You can also do this with melted butter too, but this is a little bit heart healthier. So you can see I'm just going to drizzle it so it gets a little bit of color while it cooks in your oven.
Lovely. I love how nicely those stuck. You know, you don't have to use like the egg.
Yeah,
Any
so
stuff.
no egg wash, no milk, no heavy cream. Heavy cream's really expensive right now, so the sour cream is a little bit cheaper. And it's a really great alternative to breading anything, schnitzel,
Ah.
fish for fish tacos. I've been eating a lot of fish tacos lately.
Mm.
Okay, so now our fish is ready to go in the oven. Our oven is preheated, and I'm gonna start out with about 12 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and check the fish.
Sounds good. And our oven might be faster, but we'll see. What are you kind of looking for when you know it's done?
So I'm looking for a golden brown crust on the top.
Mm.
And then when I'll show you when I pull it out to test it, but I'm gonna put my finger on the fat part of the fish. And if it smashes and flakes a little bit, that means it's done.
Okay.
So that's really good. Tilapia can be a little flaky. Inside joke. But that's what makes it good, especially a breaded fish, and it's really great for fish tacos. Okay, so while the fish is cooking, I'm gonna finish up everything and start to plate it. And I'm gonna finish my salad and put my salad together, and then we'll plate everything and we'll start to taste it, and that's the best part.
Yay!
Okay, so I'm gonna get some dishes out. Let's see. So this is for my deviled eggs.
Okay, gorgeous.
I like to do kind of a deeper dish for the wheatberry salad. Do you have bowls?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got some of.
Oh,
here.
perfect. I'll just do this.
Everybody doing good?
Yeah, where is everybody? Are you guys at this point yet? Do you need a little bit more time? This one looks better.
Busy with the fish, drenching fish.
Okay, so I have my deviled egg platter, my bowl for my wheatberry salad, and then a plate for the fish when it comes out. I'm not going to pull out the remoulade quite yet because I want to wait until the fish is finished because we still want it to be a little bit cool and have that body to it.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to check on my wheat berries.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Doing good?
So my wheat berries are super cold now. And this is what they'll look like. And again, it really helped that I spread it into a thin layer and put it up next to the condenser that puts out the cold air. So now we're at the point where we're going to start mixing our wheat berries together.
Mm-hmm. And do you need another bigger bowl?
I think I can use this one.
Because we have some bigger metal ones if needed.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start by making my wheatberry salad in a bigger bowl, and then I'll transfer it to a serving dish. If you guys are wondering what this is a bucket of sanitizer water that every cook needs to have at their station when working in public kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to take my wheat berries and I'm going to put them into a bowl. Now, I've seasoned this a little bit, but not really. I was waiting till the end to really season it, okay?
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about the mint.
Yes.
And the basil.
So we are finishing this salad. You're going to need a cutting board that doesn't have fish on it. So I'm going to switch out my cutting board.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is incredible. Okay. So now you're going to get your mint and your basil. And I'm going to show you a cool way to do this. Do you have a timer on the fish?
No, we didn't.
Okay, so I would just do like 10 minutes right
10
now.
minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. We might even want to check halfway just to make sure our ovens are.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay, so I'm going to take my knife. It's sanitized. I'm going to sanitize it again. We want to make sure we're not mixing flavors, okay? That's
Or
the
fish with.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You don't want fish in your wheatberry salad. You don't want deviled eggs in your fish, you know,
No.
although it might be good.
Maybe.
Okay, so I'm going to take my basil and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to roll it like this into a long kind of green bean, or marijuana is legal now, so maybe a joint. This technique is called chiffonade, okay? So you roll up multiple leaves just like this. And then you try to slice it as thinly as possible. And make sure your knife is sharp, because if your knife isn't sharp, you're going to bruise the herbs before you cut them, okay? And you don't want to bruise them. So I'm going to take my chiffonade basil and add it to the cold wheat berries.
Yeah, smell that.
And now I'm going to do the same with my mint. So I am going to save like, I don't know, maybe one leaf as a garnish for my ice cream.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the rest of the leaves and I stack them. And then of course, roll your joint. And then you're going to thinly slice them just like you did the basil in a chiffonade style. And then we're going to take that and add it to our wheatberry salad. And this is the fun part. We have our blueberries and our goat cheese. We're going to wait and add the goat cheese to the end. Our blueberries, we have about a half a quart left. So I'm going to add half of this to the wheatberry salad.
Save some for the,
You want to save some for the ice cream.
and you got to try a blueberry. They're all local right now.
So I'm going to add just a little bit more.
Mm.
And this is about, again, another cup of blueberries. And then I'm going to save the last bit of blueberries for our ice cream. And I'm going to mix this up. And then I'm going to add my blueberry vinaigrette.
That's already so pretty. Look at
So
that.
this is what it looks like right now.
But with that magenta.
And then this beautiful, thick blueberry vinaigrette is just going to heighten the blueberry flavor of the salad. So we're going to pour this in. See how it's kind of gelatinized? This is what happens when you add olive oil to basic ingredients. And this is the emulsification you want. See how the oil is kind of emulsified in and it's not separated out? So I'm going to actually add all of this to the wheatberry salad because it gives it so much good flavor. And then the wheatberries have a really wonderful texture, and then you get a pop of blueberry with it when you eat it. And then on top, you'll have those wonderful herb flavors mixed together, so it adds for a freshness. And then the goat cheese goes on top.
Stunner.
And I'm just gonna mix this in. Okay. So now it looks like this. This is your wheatberry salad. And I'm going to give it a taste because I want to make sure it has enough salt in it because I haven't really added salt to it yet.
And we did take our ice cream out of the freezer. So if you want to soften up your ice cream a little bit.
So what I want you guys to taste is I want you to taste a little bit of the vinegar. I want you to taste the sweetness of the honey. I want you to taste a pop of blueberry, a little bit of the herbs, and then the sour goat cheese is going to go on top.
Whoa.
So.
I want to check the fish out fried.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's almost 6 minutes
Past.
well, it's actually been 4 minutes past, but do you want me to just take a quick look at the fish?
Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm going to get a slotted spoon in case you guys don't want all that dressing on your wheatberry salad.
You might want to take a look.
Okay, I will. Hold on. So I'm just going to spoon this into a bowl. You can take out some of the vinaigrette if you want, but I think it's really flavorful. So, and you can also save the vinaigrette for a local green salad. Cops also sells really lovely greens. And it makes a really nice local vinaigrette flavor to salad with local food. Okay, now I'm going to check my fish.
You probably still need more time, but I thought I would ask you.
Oh yeah, looking good.
Still doing good?
So your fish is going to start browning a little bit. And that's because of that fat that we did on top. And it's unsaturated fat, olive oil. So it means it's a lot healthier. I'm a food science teacher too. So
What are you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a jack of all trades. Okay, so for the final thing for our wheatberry salad, I'm going to put gloves on because again, I'm cooking for more than just me. And any kind of ready to eat food, if you're cooking for a party, you really want to wear gloves because whatever's on your hands is going to transfer to the food. And we're not heating this up again to kill the bacteria. So, and we are almost finished. I apologize, we're over time, but about 2 more minutes and we'll be finished. So this goat cheese is really wonderful. I'm a huge fan of Prairie Fruits Farms.
my gosh.
The reason I added on top to the salad is because once you mix it in, it kind of disintegrates into the salad, which is fine, but I want this as a presentation piece. And so when you eat it, make sure you get the wheat berries, the blueberries, a little taste of the goat cheese, because it all goes really well together. And I'm going to make sure I use all this goat cheese because it's so good. I don't want to waste any. And then again, you can add microgreens to the top of this. You can add scallions. You can add chives.
And this is the everything bagel flavor of the goat cheese. They also have a herbs de Provence flavor that's one of my favorites,
yeah.
or a cracked pepper.
I'm obsessed with everything bagel seasoning. I pretty much put it on everything. Hence the title. Okay. So now I'm going to get out my herbs or my deviled eggs. I'm going to clear this away. We don't need this anymore. Get this out of the way.
Stunning.
Okay, so now we're going to plate the deviled eggs. And I did not need to add any more salt to the wheat berries. If you do, that's fine. We do have salt left. But once everything's mixed together, it really doesn't need it. And the everything bagel seasoning has a little bit of salt to it anyway.
Look at how beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly plate these because I think our fish is finished. And the tilapia, once again, the great thing about cooking this tilapia is that it's so flat. It cooks so quickly. So you can tell, I mean, I saved the tilapia for the end because it's such a quick method that we did. Okay.
Beautiful. Okay, and then I got this for you.
So here are our eggs. And now I'm going to take out our fish. Oh, wonderful.
Sure. If you want that.
Yeah. Is everybody still with us?
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, perfect. And
Sarah's my biggest cheerleader. That's why I love working with her. She's such a positive. She like boosts my self-esteem every time I see her.
genuine.
So I pulled out the fish. It's been about 10 minutes. And what I'm going to do is this golden brown is perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to smash the top part. And do you see how it kind of just flakes away?
Wow.
And you can see the inside of it. And if there's no pink or purple on the inside, then it's done. And so you can see that this fish is finished.
Wow.
Okay, so we're going to transfer this onto a plate. Don't do that.
You want to?
Yeah. And it's okay if it's in pieces because we're actually going to want it in pieces anyway to dip it in the remoulade sauce. So, okay.
Ooh, nice.
Now it's time to get the remoulade sauce out.
Yes. And we have our ice cream. I'm so excited for you guys about this.
And I want to show you, see how leaving it in the refrigerator really made it a lot thicker because the mayonnaise really tightened up. And this is what we're looking for because when you dip the fish in, you want it to coat it with this remoulade sauce, okay? So we're going to put this on the side here. And so everything's finished now except for the dessert. Yay! So this dessert recipe that I gave you guys is super versatile. And what I did was I took the sweet corn off the cob and I put the kernels and the cob into the milk and heavy cream and brought it up to a boil. Anytime you bring dairy products up to the boil, you have to be very careful because the milk fats can drop to the bottom and it can really scorch the bottom of the pan. So we really had to babysit it and stir it while it came up to a boil. And then again, since sugar is an acid, we waited to add our sugar to our egg yolks until the dairy had been brought up to a boil. So then we add our sugar. If we added it first, it would actually start to cook the eggs, and that's what we don't want. So we mixed in the sugar with our eggs, and then we strained out the dairy mixture and slowly added it to our egg and sugar mixture. And then you want to put it in the fridge overnight, and you can get an old school ice cream maker from Rural King. You can get one from Walmart. You can get one from Farm and Fleet. And it's a really fun activity to do in the hot summer, especially if you have children or nieces or nephews or grandchildren. And I've made bacon ice cream with this recipe before. I've made chocolate ice cream. I've made mint ice cream. I've made basil ice cream, which is actually super good.
Wow. This was one of ours. And so it actually had a manual crank or a automated crank. And so what we would do is we filled in the base and put the mixture into the base about like, I think this recipe might have you do it twice. You might have enough to do 2 batches. But we had rock salt that we layered in with the ice. So
And you can get the rock salt. I guess everybody's making ice cream right now, so we had a little bit of trouble finding rock salt, but you can find it at Meijer in Urbana or at Walmart.
right.
Usually you can find it with wherever you buy your ice cream maker. So I'm just going to take a spoon and I'm going to spoon this out into a bowl. And on your recipe, it says balsamic vinegar. So what the balsamic vinegar does is it adds kind of a tangy part to the sweetness of the sweet corn.
We might have.
Today, we're just going to add sweet corn ice cream and blueberries and a little sprig of mint. Mint goes really well with this recipe. You don't have to add the balsamic vinegar, but it's a really nice addition if you have it. And it's kind of a fun thing that nobody really does with ice cream.
Yeah.
So I've got my ice cream in a bowl. I'm going to spread the rest of my blueberries on top. Right here. I want to let those go to waste. Okay. And then I'm going to garnish it. You can chiffonade the mint so it gets everywhere in the ice cream, but I'm just going to garnish it with a top of mint. And if you were going to add balsamic reduction, I would just drizzle it right across the top.
Amazing.
So these are our dishes for today.
Good job, Ann.
Thanks, you guys.
Yay,
It's an army.
So great. Well,
So when you guys get to the tasting part, I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you guys are there yet, I know we're a little over time. But if you want to stay on and tell us about what your favorite dish was or how you feel about the process, I would love to have feedback from you guys.
yes, please. And we can dig in. We can try
dig in.
some.
We're gonna dig in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna start with a
Jocelyn
deviled egg.
says the tilapia is so good.
Yeah, and it's baked instead of pan fried, so you don't get your kitchen all messy with grease, and it's a little bit healthier.
That's so great.
Mmm. Deviled egg.
Have you tried anything else yet? So
Okay, are there any comments?
just tilapia is so good.
Are you guys ready to try the wheatberry salad?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's try some. These
Oh,
are
yeah, let
so
me know what
great.
you think?
They're delicious.
So it's super simple, right? Food doesn't have to be complicated to be good. It's a super simple recipe. It's easy to replicate. And it's just delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so tempted by these deviled eggs.
Okay, so when you
Wow.
eat the wheatberry salad, make sure you get a bite of everything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So here is a little taste for you guys. And of course you can have more, but
Mm-hmm.
here you go.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you so much.
Let us know what your favorite dish is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And it makes it more fun if it's not complicated, you know? You can make good food in a simple way. Okay, what are your thoughts on the wheatberry salad? Did you get the goat cheese, blueberry, and wheatberry?
Thank you, Jocelyn. She said I have to run, but this was a great class. Thank you. Great.
Mm.
Well, thank you guys. I think I'm so excited to try this tilapia.
Mm.
Just have to
I'm
dunk
so
a
glad
little bit
I
in.
didn't eat before I came.
I know. Let's see. Maybe I'll.
The goat cheese.
I'm just gonna dip it in, Sarah. Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Please.
Isn't the goat cheese? So the goat cheese rounds out the flavor of the acid in the vinaigrette.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm gonna do the remoulade on top of my little fish. And this is
Oh,
a
it's
great,
delicious.
great summery meal that you can make at home. And it's not gonna fill you up and be really heavy when it's so hot outside. Mmm, good.
Ideal. Thank you so much, Marion. Hope you enjoy your meal, and thanks so much, y'all. Well, I'll send you links to our upcoming classes. We have a Indian cooking class next month. And then we're going to be doing a Korean cooking class in October. So stay tuned for those. And thanks so much for spending your Saturday with us. We're so glad to be cooking with you, and you're welcome to stay on.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for
yeah.
having me.
Thank
in the
you,
co-op.
Ann. Thanks so
yeah,
much.
this is fun.
Okay, we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.